Oh, welcome back to Crush'em TV. And Mad Maxine Waters is at it again. Yeah, that nut job that opens her mouth and typically eats her shoe. This time she's tweeting out, and I yanked a still frame off Next News Network to give credit where credit is due, that women, apparently she thinks she's a spokesperson for all of them, are outraged and fed up with this president. Impeachment isn't enough. Should we explore exile? Are you friggin' serious? Talking about exiling people out of the country now? I mean, we haven't even done that to people that have committed terrorist acts. I mean, and what she's talking about here is in reference to the whole deal with MSNBC and those nut jobs on the daytime show, the Brzezinski and Mika. You know, those two sit there and make horrible statements about the president and his family every day, calling for them to be executed, assassinated, or, you know, tearing down an 11-year-old little boy, you know, calling him mentally ill and everything else, and the man finally punches back because he's sick of their crap. And this is what she says, you know. And the funny thing is, she doesn't ever say anything bad about what they say. You know, apparently them and the horrible, rotten things they say every day, that's okay by Mad Maxine. But yet, if he stands up for himself in any way, just because he holds the position of president, he's not supposed to defend himself. That's BS. Every man and woman in the country has a right to stand up and defend themselves. I don't care if you're a CEO, a president, or a burger flipper. And here we go. Liberals crying racism to try to discredit the GOP. More Mad Maxine.
To the Los Angeles Times, Waters has become Auntie Maxine on the left, a folk hero beloved for her wisdom and sassy ways. Okay, so here's some actual tape of Auntie Maxine from just the other day describing Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Judge for yourself.
I think that Jeff Sessions is very dangerous. I think he's a racist, and
you know, her voice sounds like a damn character off South Park. I mean, I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but bust up there, because as soon as she started talking there, I get this image of these little characters off South Park in my head. Oh no, they killed Kenny. But anyway, here we go.
I think that he absolutely believes that it's his job to keep minorities in their place. That he comes from a time and a place in his history where this was the order of the day.
And you know what? Right there, I find her viewpoint on that and her little commentary that she just made there where she thinks she's discrediting him. I think that shows you that she's a friggin' racist. You know, when you listen to everything that comes out of that woman's mouth and what she says, she is as racist as they come. And that is actually going to become even more clearly evident as soon as Tucker Carlson gets to his little spiel here. The stuff she's saying about Sessions just is not true. And it's insane.
So Maxine Waters is calling someone else a racist, huh? Well, luckily we have long memories on the show, long enough to recall the LA riots of 1992. Do you remember those? 58 people died. Many more were gravely injured, including a man called Reginald Denny. He was a truck driver who happened to be at the wrong intersection at the wrong time, and more than anything, the wrong color. Because of his race, Denny was pulled from his truck and smashed in the head with a cinder block until he sustained brain damage. It was a hate crime if there ever was one. It all happened on videotape. A helicopter caught it, and it happened in Maxine Waters' city.
Yeah, but
she did not denounce the attack. On the contrary, she all but endorsed the attack. The leader of the mob that nearly murdered Reginald Denny was called Damian Williams. Now, Maxine Waters visited Damian Williams' mother to offer her support. Williams was sent to prison on a single...
Now, can you imagine what would have happened if Donald Trump would have went to visit the killer, that racist kid in South Carolina that went into the church and killed a bunch of black people? Can you imagine the shit that would have hit the fan if Donald Trump or any white guy for that matter, in a political position, had went in and supported him, gave him a poor you visit. I mean, come on, that's bullshit. I don't care what your excuse is. It's wrong. Whether you're black, whether you're white, somebody does something horrible like that, you don't go in and give them a poor me visit, which is exactly what she did. Not only that, but this SOB gets out and then turns around and goes back and does it again.
Felony charge of mayhem, but when his accomplices got off, Waters joined in the celebration. Damian Williams was released just a few years later and went on to murder somebody else in 2000. He's still in prison today.
That's who she supported.
Waters did not learn a thing from the experience. She went on to describe
Maxine
the LA
is a
race riots
racist
as a rebellion, and in ways understandable, including apparently the part about smashing people's brains in for being the wrong color. Yep, that's the Democratic Party's new expert on race relations. So we invited Congressman Waters onto the show. We've done it many times. She's never agreed to come on.
And that's who
so
you have calling the president all kinds of names. She supported this racist piece of shit.
From here in D.C., and she joins us tonight. Monique, thank you for being bold enough to come on.
Oh, it's not that scary.
Yeah, I don't think it is at all. But I'm not saying that Maxine Waters should be in prison. I am saying that given that history, she shouldn't be in Congress. She shouldn't be defended by her colleagues, and she certainly shouldn't be weighing in on race relations. That puts her outside the pale. Endorsing violence that's the line, and she crossed it.
Right. Well, I don't know if we'd have our current president if that was the line.
Has he endorsed racial violence?
Because he's endorsed violence, he's promoted violence, he's promulgated violence.
No, he hasn't.
Really? There is, if you can name an instance
where did he ever promote racism or violence?
Had, I don't know, that horrible shooter down in South Carolina. If he had visited that guy's family to offer his condolences, that would be, that's just not acceptable in American life. And he's done nothing like that.
Perhaps stood in front of thousands of people and...
You notice there, she avoids it. She doesn't answer what he asked. She doesn't actually respond to what if somebody had went in and supported that nut job down in South Carolina, which nobody would, because it was the wrong thing to do. Nobody would go do that. Nobody did. But her, what does she do? She deflects. She doesn't answer the frickin' question. Instead, she tries to, what about this? What about this other thing, which is all unrelated and not even true? But it's the typical Democrat, far-left liberal BS thing to do. They don't actually answer the question. They deflect and they try to change to something else.
Said there was a day when that person would have been taken somewhere and
the South Carolina guy?
I mean, how many different, I was about to call them protests, but they weren't. They were rallies. How many different rallies were there where people were put out for doing what it is their right to do, which is protest?
Okay, it is not their right to go in and disrupt a rally or, somebody else's convention. They have a right to peacefully protest outside. They do not have a right to come in to somebody else's rally and disrupt it and cause mayhem, which, by the way, if you look all the way back at all the reports, it was shown that all those people that were sent into Trump's rallies were all paid for by the DNC. They were paid disruptors. They were not actual real protesters, but even so, their right to peaceful protest is outside, not to come in and disrupt and cause chaos. That's inciting a riot. And what she's trying to do is trying to make it sound, oh, it's their right to come in and protest. No, it's not their right to go in and incite a riot. You don't have a right to do that.
And we had from then candidate Trump, now President Trump, an insistence upon the fact that the people in the crowd were right to cheer to want them thrown out. So what I'm saying
is your argument
that's
that
not the line.
That's not so it's okay now is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that it's okay. What I'm saying is that you said if a person was willing to support or encourage
racial violence, yes.
Violence is what you said. That
I'm saying that
she never answered the question straight.
Things that we say that's bigoted, that's racist, whatever, and we can debate what those are. But if you have a person who was nearly murdered simply because of the color of his skin, any color, you can't congratulate that person in effect. And she did. And so I'm just saying she's gotten away with that for 25 years. Right. That's a very different thing from what you're describing at the Trump rallies. Not my job to defend Trump's statements at those rallies, but it's not even in the same category as what Maxine Waters
again,
did.
he's right.
And my only point is, how can she be a folk hero on the left if she did something like that?
Right, and
because
I
the
guess
left
what
is
I was
mentally
saying
ill.
Is, I don't understand how President Trump can be president of the United States for the many and sundry things that he's done, but our voters are the ones who decide who should and should not.
And you notice here, she doesn't actually, again, she does not answer what he asked. Her response is, well, I don't understand how he can be president for all the things he's done. But yet, it's that vague assertion again. And she doesn't actually specify anything because she can't. She doesn't actually name anything that is supposedly racist or violent that he's done or said because she can't, because it doesn't fucking exist. It's not real. But this is what the left does because they are sick in their fricking heads. They are mentally ill. They deflect, they make crap up, they never get to specifics, they just make general assertions, and they repeat the lie until it is believed. That's that old Alinsky tactic. The same thing that Obama and Clinton prescribed to, where they believe in these Alinsky tactics. Tell a lie enough, and it will be believed. It will become a mantra for the people that just want to believe it because it fits their worldview.
Be in office. So when you're saying how can someone be in office, the answer to that always is that unless
I'm not asking that question.
You're saying
I think
no shit. People vote him in.
I'm not arguing against democracy.
But you did say that she didn't deserve to be in office.
I don't think she ought to be in office, but what I really don't think is that she ought to have the adulation or even the cover of her colleagues, fellow Democrats.
Right.
And I find it inexplicable that she would be held up
kicked
as
out.
some sort of fountain of wisdom on racial matters, much less she'd be allowed to call someone else racist. That's my point.
I don't even know that she's held up as a fountain of wisdom on racism, and that is why people, especially young people, millennials, call her Auntie Maxine. I prefer to call her Congresswoman Waters. But what I'm saying is that the people on the left have reasons. They believe that she is a listener to the issues of the day, and I think that that's correct. And then I also
apparently
think
she's
that
a listener
if
if you're a racist person killing white people.
That you played, she said, "I think this, and I think that."
These are straw men, as you know. I'm not contesting anyone's right to say what he or she thinks or to run for office or be elected. Obviously, I'm not a liberal, so therefore I believe in free speech and democracy. But let me just ask again a really simple question. We're at a moment of maximum political tension where people are really starting to hate each other. I think we're moving toward like a real separation in this country.
You think we're moving toward
I do think that. I think things are getting too intense, is my point. Here's the point I'm making.
Were they less intense 200 years ago?
Look,
were they less intense 100 years ago?
Right now,
in the
and
60s,
for someone like Maxine Waters, see what you're doing is you're saying, you know what, Pol Pot killed a lot of people, therefore I'm not going to condemn this simply because something else was.
You see what she's doing there? She's deflecting and like trying to make it out that what Maxine's doing's okay because in her view she thinks it wasn't any better 100 years ago. It wasn't any better 200 years ago. So trying to use a justification of past violence by, somebody somewhere else, 2,000 years ago you poked out my great-grandsister's eyes, so, it's okay for me to come kill you today. No, it's not okay. But that's the fucked up left liberal logic bullshit that she's pushing.
Bad doesn't mean that we don't have the right to describe what we're watching as bad. And I'm saying to call the Attorney General as a racist with no evidence is insane.
You can describe it as bad, but I'm actually listening to what you're saying, and what you said is that we're moving towards something, and I think that if you look at the continuum of our history, that's just not true.
Okay. If we could end the history lecture really quick. Look, we could debate this.
She's trying to claim it's just always been that way.
Things are getting super intense, and it's bad. It's bad for the country, and at some point people are going to get hurt if it doesn't decelerate.
I don't even know that that's true. I think what things are getting is vocalized. I think that people who were once marginalized and oppressed now have a voice, and they're using it, and the manner in which they use it, whether on the right or on the left, is a way that offends some. I think that it would be nice.
Racist at somebody, which is the new motif on the left, is not a discussion. You're not adding to the sum total of anything.
Racism is new. I think calling someone a racist when they are one may be new, and that there was a time when people who were treated disproportionately negatively because of their color.
Look, it's too irresponsible.
And that's right. Just like Tucker said, that shit's just getting too stupid. And that's where we're going to fucking end that. Because, you know, I mean, that right there is just the ultimate statement. I don't think calling somebody a racist is new. I think calling them a racist when they are one is new. Come on. I mean, the mental hoops that they go through to try to justify saying whatever the hell they want to say. You know, Mad Maxine is a frickin' nut job, and she needs to be out. And this kind of stuff is just insane. You cannot call for exiling somebody just because you don't like them. You know, just imagine the junk that would have happened, you know, if that had been done to Obama. I know people wanted to impeach him. A lot of people talked about it because he was breaking the Constitution with a lot of the things that he was doing. I mean, the liberal left wipes their butt with the Constitution. They have no idea. They would just as well throw it out. God forbid they ever have the opportunity to actually get that much power. So if you like what you see on this channel, please donate to the Patreon. And remember to like and subscribe, share it, pass it around to your friends. Have a safe 4th of July. Take care, stay safe. And no matter who you are, no matter what your skin tone, I hope the heck life is going good and you take care of yourself. You have a great day.